All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Because honestly, it's time we completely rethink what we actually consider a healthy beverage. We all want to make good choices for our bodies, right? But sometimes the very things we think are helping us are actually doing the exact opposite. So today we're diving into the fascinating science behind blood sugar. And specifically, we're going to look at 7 everyday drinks that have been medically shown to help actively lower it.
It's time to seriously challenge our daily habits here. So many of us reach for a sports drink after a workout, or maybe a tall glass of fruit or vegetable juice first thing in the morning, completely convinced we're doing our bodies a huge favor. But in reality, those juices are often silently spiking your blood sugar, and over time, chronically high blood sugar just destroys your blood vessels, which dramatically increases your risks for severe outcomes. We're talking blindness, the need for amputations, and even life-threatening events like strokes and heart attacks. It's a massive, serious trap that so many health-conscious people just blindly fall into.
Look, we all know the drill by now, right? Carbs break down into glucose, and insulin rushes in to pack that sugar into our cells for energy. But when our diets just totally overwhelm the system, or maybe we're leading a more inactive lifestyle, insulin just struggles to keep up. It's like a manager at a restaurant who is completely overwhelmed during the lunch rush. And when insulin can't keep up, high blood sugar literally turns your healthy, smoothly flowing blood into this thick, sticky syrup. Imagine trying to pump thick maple syrup through tiny, delicate little pipes. Well, that's exactly what your heart is doing. And that thick, syrupy blood is what ultimately damages those blood vessels over time. So here is our roadmap for today. We just covered the blood sugar trap. Next, we'll look at morning and mealtime protectors, followed by nature's liquid armor. Then we are going to reveal the ultimate champion, and finally wrap up with how to supercharge your drinks.
All right, moving to section 1, morning and mealtime protectors.
Think about your typical carb-heavy breakfast, maybe a couple of slices of white toast or a rice ball. These are the exact types of foods that send your blood sugar absolutely soaring. But studies from Guelph and Toronto universities show that simply drinking milk with these meals is a total game changer. You see, the protein in the milk actually slows down how fast your body absorbs those carbohydrates. It also boosts a hormone called GLP-1, which triggers your body to release insulin way more effectively, all while suppressing your hunger hormone, ghrelin. And honestly, the most amazing part, drinking milk at breakfast doesn't just limit that immediate sugar spike. It carries that protection all the way to lunch. It literally reduces the spike after your next meal too. Now, prepare to be a little shocked if you're a big morning juice person. Typical fruit and vegetable juices are often stripped of all their fiber just to make them smooth, which basically leaves you drinking straight sugar. A standard 200 milliliter glass of 100% orange juice has 21 grams of sugar. To put that into perspective, that is almost identical to a glass of cola, which sits at 22.8 grams. Vegetable juices honestly aren't much better. However, tomato juice is your hero here. It's a phenomenal low-sugar alternative, clocking in at a mere 7.1 grams. But tomato juice isn't just about avoiding sugar, it actually actively helps your insulin. A fascinating study by the Kagome Company measured exactly when our bodies best absorb lycopene. That's the antioxidant that makes tomatoes red and promotes insulin function. And the data is incredibly clear. Drinking tomato juice specifically in the morning completely maximizes your absorption of lycopene compared to drinking it at noon or at night. So swapping that morning orange juice for tomato juice, that's a massive, massive upgrade for your blood sugar control. Rounding out these meal protectors, we've got soy milk. Research from the University of Massachusetts highlights that soy products are fantastic for lowering your risks of diabetes and heart disease. And it all comes down to these things called soy isoflavones. These fascinating little compounds actually mimic estrogen, which essentially fine-tunes your body to use insulin so much more effectively. But listen, just be absolutely sure you are buying unsweetened soy milk, okay? Otherwise, you'll totally defeat the purpose with all those added sugars. Okay, let's pivot to section 2, nature's liquid armor. Enter tea. We're talking green, black, or oolong. They are just packed with polyphenols, like the catechins you find in green tea. When you eat carbohydrates, they have to be broken down into tiny little glucose molecules to pass through your intestines and actually get into your blood. Well, polyphenols directly interrupt this breakdown process. Think of them literally like a bouncer at a club, standing right at the door of your bloodstream, blocking the carbs from being broken down. And that means far less sugar actually makes it into your blood in the first place. And the results of this bouncer effect are profound. A massive study observing over 17,000 Japanese adults between their 40s and 60s
found that drinking 6 or more cups of green tea daily drops your diabetes risk by a staggering 33%. 33%! That's compared to people who drink less than 1 cup a week. And hey, even if you can't manage 6 cups, other major global studies show that just 4 cups a day of green, black, or oolong tea drops your diabetes risk by 17%. It is just a simple, highly effective daily habit to pick up. Next up in our liquid armor arsenal is a heavy hitter, apple cider vinegar. Research out of Lebanon's Holy Spirit University of Kozlik shows that the acetic acid in apple cider vinegar acts like a brake pedal on carb absorption, really preventing that sudden, dangerous spike in blood sugar. And as a fantastic little side effect, participants also saw a noticeable reduction in belly fat. But please, please dilute it. Unless you hate your stomach lining and your tooth enamel, you've got to mix just 1 to 2 tablespoons into a large glass of water, or carbonated water, preferably taken during or right after a meal. And speaking of water, drinking plain water is essential. Remember that syrupy blood we talked about earlier? Water literally dilutes the sugar, helping your blood flow normally again. But if plain water just feels a bit too boring for you, Kyushu University proved that adding some lemon takes it to the absolute next level. Their studies showed that drinking water with just 15 to 30 grams of lemon juice right before eating white rice significantly lowers the resulting blood sugar spike compared to eating that rice all by itself. Which brings us to Section 3, the absolute ultimate champion, coffee. Harvard researchers pitted water, tea, milk, and coffee against each other among 15,000 diabetic patients, and coffee absolutely took the crown. It reduced the mortality risk more than any other beverage on the list. The secret? Well, coffee is incredibly rich in a polyphenol called chlorogenic acid, which blocks carb absorption just like tea does. But it also contains caffeine, which has been proven to boost fat burning and reduce your appetite. Since excess body fat is a major driver of diabetes, coffee is essentially fighting high blood sugar on 2 distinct fronts. Now hold on, before you go brewing an entire gallon of coffee, we do need to talk about limits. The European Food Safety Authority reminds us that 400 milligrams of caffeine is your safe daily limit to avoid negative side effects like the jitters or completely ruining your sleep. Since an average cup has about 90 milligrams, you really want to cap your intake at about 4 cups a day. And of course, you got to drink it black. Adding heaps of sugar entirely defeats the power of this champion. All right, final section, Section 4, supercharging your drinks. You can totally get creative and combine these weapons to make them even better, again, as long as you aren't adding sugar. For instance, combine black tea and milk for a blood sugar stabilizing milk tea. If you find apple cider vinegar too harsh on its own, try mixing it into your morning tomato juice. The tomato naturally cuts the harshness of the vinegar, giving you that lycopene and acetic acid all in one go. Or take our ultimate champion, coffee, and add some unsweetened soy milk to make a soy latte. That gives you both the fat-burning caffeine and those insulin-sensitizing isoflones. But hey, if you prefer to drink them separately, just make sure you get a good mix throughout the day. And honestly, this is the most mind-blowing stat in this entire explainer. Kyushu University tracked nearly 5,000 diabetic patients and found that combining the daily habits of drinking 4 cups of green tea and 2 or more cups of coffee resulted in a 63% lower mortality rate. Let me repeat that, 63%, just by choosing the right everyday beverages. It's just incredible how the science shows that what we put in our glass matters just as much as what's on our plate. So take a look at your current habits, consider all the amazing options we've explored today, and ask yourself, what simple swap are you going to make tomorrow morning to take back control of your blood sugar?